first thing we noticed probably was the spoilage issue on the bottom of the bale. On the regular net wrap bale, we had about 6 inches of spoilage on the bottom from where it sat on the ground. The B wrap bale, we had none. Last winter, we did a side-by-side test, net wrapped hay and B wrapped hay. Both bales came from the same field. They were actually baled the same day. We unrolled the net wrap bale first, just the regular net wrap. Cows went to it. We came back up and unrolled the B wrapped bale second, and every cow that was in the net wrap bale went to the B wrap bale in a matter of about 30 seconds.
There's a lot of guys around that are using the plastic wrap for even dry hay, and you know, the bad thing about the plastic wrap versus the B wrap is the plastic wrap's not breathable, and a lot of times that hay will get a moldy layer right under the wrap because that moisture has nowhere to go. With the B wrap, it actually lets the hay breathe, and you don't have that mold there. We've seen time and time again, cattle will go to the same hay that's got B wrap on it and eat it before they will the net wrap hay out of the same field bale the same day.
And we're starting to use more straw in our dairy rations, so that gives us extra incentive to use the B wrap. And this year we've baled well over 400 bales with it. It helps stretch our corn silage out, and it's really been a good fit in our ration. We found out last year that after using the bales with the B wrap on it, they were just like the day we baled them. You know, there was just very little loss at all. We went probably from a 15% loss to about a 2 to 3% loss. So, you know, it was just as nice and clean as straw.
We grow about 2,000 acres of corn, about 75 acres of hay, and feed about 1,600 head of cattle. And we need to make about 1,500 to 1,700 corn stock bales a year for bedding purposes. We made the B wrap bales in the fall with the intention of letting them sit a year and then using them the next fall. In the summer, we went and checked the bales and we were shocked at how good they looked. So just as an experiment, we left them sit there for another year. And when we took the B wrap off, after 2 years of sitting there, they looked about the same as a corn stock bale that had only sat there a month after being baled. We were amazed at how well they looked.
The only thing that we did notice was a little bit of wicking action from the ground up because we had them sitting on heavy clay ground and not in a very good place to leave them sit that long, but I was amazed.
We shrink wrap a few every year, but the cost of shrink wrapping and the time associated with doing it, the B wrap is much more conducive. We have better quality bales, they last longer, and it's a lot faster to do.
We got a corn, soybean, alfalfa farm, about 200 acres of alfalfa. Well, we were introduced to the B wrap last July of 2011, and we kept both around for a comparison. And you can open up the B wrapped hay today, and it looks like the day we baled it. And our mesh wrapped hay kept very well, but not near like the B wrapped hay. There's an auction company south of us in that Kelowna area, and we have sold hay there before. We took some of the B wrap hay down there to just see how people would react to it. A lot of interest in it, and it sold very well that day. It was the best selling hay that day.
Well, the first thing that really brought us to the B wrap is for a number of years I was really tired of dealing with the frozen corn stock bales, the frozen net wrap. I'm a firm believer in let's get the net wrap off of the bales, let's get a good quality bale from top to bottom. So then for a couple of years we were trying to, we would tube line wrap the bales. I tried piling bales in a pyramid and covering them with bunker plastic. The challenge was there was a lot of labor to do it. And then the bales, especially the bales that were tube line wrapped, is in that plastic form, they could not breathe. And when you have weather changes, the condensation would cause a snotty layer all the way around the outside of the bale. And when we decided to strike upon the B wrap route, I talked to the local dealership, and I said, "Is there anything that we can do?" And they said, "Yeah, actually, we've got this new thing coming out, this B wrap. Just getting it on a few balers. Let's put it on your baler and try it." And ever since then, have had excellent luck. Clean corn stalks from top to bottom, year-round, beautiful bales. The breathing is important, and I think that's one thing with B Wrap is the bales are allowed to breathe when temperature changes, humidity levels change, et cetera, they can breathe. A B Wrap bale can be set anywhere and breathe just fine. In the wintertime, you deal with net wrap being frozen to the bale, and the bale having a 6-inch or 3 to 6 inch crust of frozen net wrap and corn stalks. And that's essentially a waste. That's not a fluffy bedding. Traditionally wrapped bale, you start with a 5x6 bale, and you end up with a 5x5 bale when you're all said and done, because you lose 6 inches all the way around the bale, and that adds up over time. With the B Wrap, in the middle of winter, it'll be perfect. You cut it, and the whole thing, the snow, the ice, anything comes right off. One thing I like in a calf facility, or even in a maternity facility, is what they call a nesting score. And if you get good fluffy bedding, they tuck right down in there and they stay drier longer, which helps animal health all around. The best thing about B Wrap so far for us is the product is easy to work with. The bales are always perfect all the time, every time. And from top to bottom, the bale spreads out nice and easy and dry. Obviously, the challenge on a farm is to estimate how many bales you need annually, depending on what kind of year you're going to have. If you need more bedding, less bedding. If it's wetter out, you'll bed more often. So the one nice thing with the B Wrap bales is if I make too many bales one year, they will carry into the next season very, very well, and they are kept. They look like they're just as good as the day you baled them. B Wrap, it doesn't matter what the weather is outside. Slice the wrap and it falls right off, and in a matter of seconds you're on to the next thing.